This is the story of two people who could see no choice other than to travel 12,000 kilometres overland from England to Australia.
You can see forever in all directions. If only you look, she said. You can see forever in all directions. You can see forever.
Through my work, I learnt a lot about the environmental issues we face, one of which was air travel. So, when the time came for me to go home, I hit a problem: how to get there without flying.
Soon after meeting Lowanna, one of the first things she asked me was if I'd like to travel with her back to Australia. I immediately said yes, but she wanted to get there as sustainably as possible. There was only one option: the bicycle.
Yeah, and then are we going to grease the wheel bearings?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, well then let's just
Get your grease gun in.
And squirt it in.
Squirt it in.
Is the grease gun point that small?
Yeah, it's got a nice little point on it.
It's only now that it's really dawning on me what we're actually doing, and I'm starting to freak out a bit and question whether or not we really are up for it. You know, we're doing the next year and a half cycling, day in, day out. So the next year and a half together, just the two of us, day in, day out.
It's going to be really amazing for our relationship to go through this journey, to try and find out more about each other, more about what we mean to each other, more about what we are ourselves, and doing it together should be an incredibly strengthening, bonding experience.
I'm the first one on the boat! Can't quite believe it. After 2 years of planning this expedition and millions of times imagining what it would be like to actually get on the ferry and leave England, we're finally here. We've finally arrived in the Netherlands. I just can't believe it. It really feels like now it's happening and we are cycling to Australia.
Global warming is increasing as years go by. The world is getting warmer and storm systems around the world are inevitably getting stronger as a result. And the result of the stronger storm systems is destruction like this. It's these beautiful trees which are ending up on their sides, and we have to do something now to stop it. It's crazy. It's amazing seeing what's going on and seeing people just accept it as something which is okay, because it isn't okay. This is our world getting destroyed in front of us, and it's about time we did something about it.
Well, after 5,500 kilometres, I've just had my first puncture. And we've only got 35 more Ks to do before the end of the day, but we've got a really strong headwind. And so everything's blowing around, there's dust and grit everywhere and loads of big trucks on the road. And we've now got to take all my panniers off and turn the bike upside down and change tyres. But hey, I should be grateful because this is my first ever puncture and Kev's had 7 already. It's the first time I've ever taken a tyre off by myself. Whee! A flat one at that. Okay, I've managed to locate the hole. And you can tell if it's a hole because it makes bubbles when you put water on it. It's quite pretty really, isn't it? It's incredible!
Quite amazing landscape we're coming into. I've never seen anything like it in my life. It's just totally incredible.
We're in the far northeast of Turkey, high in the mountains. Hello! Climbing up to about 2,400 metres. More than 2 times higher than what we climbed in the Alps.
and we spent the night just below the pass, and it was so freezing in the night. It's unbelievable to think that we've been cycling in 40 degrees heat, but last night we were absolutely shivering in our tent. So we've got to get some porridge into us to give us energy to get over the hill.
Well, that behind me is Mount Ararat. I read about it in the Bible because it's the place where the Ark's meant to be buried, under the ice cap at the top. We're only a few kilometres now from the Iranian border. We're going to be there in probably the next half an hour, so this is the last bit of filming we're being allowed to do in Turkey. No cameras near the border at all, otherwise we're going to get arrested and the camera's going to get confiscated. So the next time you see us, we're going to be in Iran. Lo's going to be covered up. We're going to be in a different land, and we can't wait.
We made it safely across the border into Iran, and the highlight of our first day was being escorted to this hotel by a group of local racing cyclists. Not only do I feel ridiculous and I'm completely overheating, but the actual Iranian word chador translates into English as tent, and I'll tell you what, it feels like it.
Well, I'm standing in the middle of Esfahan's famous Sayande River. Well, at least I'm standing where the river used to be. There hasn't been any rain in some parts of Iran for over 2 years, and the views from the tea house, under the bridge, aren't quite as green and pleasant as they used to be. With local fears about climate change and global warming, it's confirmed for us our decision to cycle and not fly to Australia.
There's tons of military people here everywhere, and some sort of procession going on to say how great Iran is, because a lot of people say that, especially the military, and they've all got tattoos saying Iran is the best. So we've been having good discussions with them, but I think we're going to stop filming now. We're going to go downstairs and see what's happening.
It was the 20th anniversary of the Iran-Iraq War, and while we were watching the army procession, a policeman came specifically up to us and asked us when we were leaving the country. And all we did was take a photo of a painting on a wall. So we escaped on an overnight bus to Pakistan.
And this place is completely full of people. Wherever you look, there are games of cricket going on. You don't get it in England so much anymore. You get loads of people playing football, and everywhere else we've been in Europe and into Asia, you've just had people playing football, but everybody talks to us about cricket in Pakistan. Look at it, you just wouldn't believe how many people are here with a cricket ball.
It's not far to India. We're going to go across the border today to the Sikh holy city of Amritsar, and we're going to stop there for a few days, relax and see what India's got to offer.
It's funny because I usually feel really fit and healthy cycling, but after only 5 days in the capital, I feel rough. My back's really sore, my joints are really achy, and like I said, I've had, really sore nose and sore throat and earache, and Kev and I are just hanging to get out of the city and back into some remotely clean air.
We never said that we would cycle every inch of the way between London and Sydney. There are hundreds of cyclists who've done it before us, and there are thousands who'll do it after us. We were never trying to break a record or cycle the longest distance ever cycled. It was all about just trying to get home to Australia using the most sustainable forms of transport we could. The bicycle, ferries, trains, ships. The mission was to try to do it all without using an aeroplane.
Well, we finally made it through immigration and customs, and we're here in Singapore. Now, this might not look weird to you, but for us this is space age. It's clean, it's modern, it's rich, there's shopping centres everywhere. This is not India.
We've just arrived in Singapore by cargo ship from India, and we're now looking to use the same form of transport to get to Australia, and just wondering if you had any freight at all, any ships that take passengers going to any of the Australian ports.
We're trying to get the ship to Australia rather than go by plane, obviously because the effects of global warming are 40 times higher in an aeroplane than they are in a ship. Apparently it used to be really easy 25 or 30 years ago to get on board a ship to take you from one country to the other, but nowadays it seems that if you don't want to fly, there aren't many options.
We've arrived at the port of Singapore and we're both feeling incredibly nervous because this is the last time we're going to be standing on land before we arrive at Australia, which is our destination. This country that always seemed so far away, and now within a matter of days we're going to be standing on Australian soil, and it's all quite overwhelming. Within a few days we found ourselves approaching Brisbane Port and my family. So amazing. It doesn't feel real. We've been thinking about this moment for so many months, and it's really strange when you're in that moment because it doesn't actually feel real. And I have to keep kind of slapping myself and picturing myself and saying, that's Australia, we're here, we've done it, we've made it. But it's got a really dreamlike quality to it. It's such an amazing surprise!
There's 2 weeks to go, just under 2 weeks to go until we get to Sydney, which is no time at all.
Time our destinies be called to reach out and touch the land.
People sort of said to us, be careful of the drivers in Sydney and be careful you don't get killed on the roads or suffocated by fumes. But after, Rome, Delhi, Athens, Tehran, capital of Iran, Quetta and Lahore in Pakistan, you just don't know how clean the air is here. There she is! Sydney! We made it!
Riding a long way on a push bike, honey, when did Kevin notice you? Riding all the way from London, Lowanna, round the world with Kevin Doyle. You look so pretty as you were riding along. You look so pretty, Kevin sang you this song.
Hey! Filming us again. Whoa! Camera's still rolling. Look at him go. 3 cheers for Lowanna King. Hip hip! Hooray! Hip hip! Hooray! Hip hip! Hooray!
Lowanna, I'm Frank Thorne from the Evening Standard.
Hi.
I gather
Thank you
now.
for coming.
That's okay. It's a lovely day. Welcome to Sydney.
Thank you.
I gather you're now planning to get married, so you obviously got on quite well on this phenomenal trip.
Well,
why didn't you do it by tandem on a bicycle made for two?
Well, it's really good if you have an argument to be able to cycle away from each other.
Oh, right. Did you have the house and grades and everything?
Does the bike go away for a while?
Definitely. we give them bits of love and a clean, but that's it. We're going to walk around Sydney for a bit.
What do you feel that you've achieved by doing this?
Saving vast quantities of carbon dioxide emissions, which has got to be good for the environment, and talking to a lot of people we've met en route about the effects of global warming, of climate change, and challenging people's preconceptions about the only way to get from A to B is very quickly in an aeroplane.
You can see forever, you can see forever. You can see forever, you can see forever.
You can see forever, you can see forever. You can see